going to walk you through how to add a buyer and seller transaction. Notion recently went through, in my opinion, a major upgrade, but it was actually just a very small upgrade, and it made the tool so much better. So now adding a new transaction should take like no time at all. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we are starting here in your agent dashboard. You can also start in your transaction dashboard. So we'll start in here, just kind of depending. So you can either go in here and use these are both going to be the templates, or when you are on your agent dashboard, then you can also do both of them here. So we will do the seller transaction first. So all you're going to do is open this up. This is already opening and starting a page for you. And just so you know, there are extra properties that aren't always shown, so you may want to open those up if needed. Also, another thing is that if you need to move these properties around, it's very easy to do, so you can just move them there. I'm going to move these up here so they are more readily accessible for me. And then I did recently add this progress bar, so it's just kind of a fun little tool that will tell you how far along you are on your tasks once we add those. For a seller, what's going to be most important is we want to do our listing dates. So we'll make our listing start date November 1st, and then let's make the expiration date, we'll say January 31st. So those are the only two dates that we're going to need at this stage, unless you're already under contract, and then you can also do those dates. If you know your purchase price, you can go ahead and add that in here. You don't need to enter either of these yet, since those are going to be once you're under contract. If you know who your client is, you can select them in here. All of these pages are just going to be views of the actual database. So there's going to be some stuff down here that is important to the database, but doesn't necessarily need to be addressed when you're filling out this information. So all you need to do, these two are already going to be set up this way. You need to enter the listing date, the listing expiration date. We'll name him Sam Seller. Okay, samseller@gmail.com. And seller phone number 111-222-333. Everybody has the same phone number, isn't that crazy? So then we have our purchase price here. You do not need to enter these two yet. And both of these are kind of the same purpose. So we could add him in here. So we'll call him Sam Seller, and then it should, yeah, it's going to make a new page for us. And then if you needed to add his contact information in here, then obviously that's going to be a good time to do that as well. You can either choose him here just for kind of a quick select option, because all you would write is his name. So there he is. So you can write him there, or if you already have him added as a contact, then you can go ahead and select him from here. Now, this information is going to come in handy when it comes to your email templates. So they're all going to be on this right-hand panel. So you have the open escrow email for the buyers, open escrow for sellers. These will fill out once we finish filling out the information. So let's do that, and then we will come back here. So we have the listing date, the listing expiration date, have his information, and those will not fill out until we're under contract and we're filling out the rest of these dates here. So Spud's clue, these are all going to populate once you're under contract. So we're pretty much done with those. This is the reason that I am re-recording these videos, because there was recently an update and it has made everything so much more seamless. So previously you had to duplicate all these tasks, and it worked, it got the job done, but it was just extra work, and we want less work. That's why you bought this system. So we're going to press this button and it is going to do all of our tasks for us. Okay, look at that. So I have them all ready here for you, and these are going to be your pre-listing transactions, so the stage that you're in right now, as well as your under contract transactions. So these are not going to populate yet, because again, we do not have our acceptance and close date, and that is what those go off of. So we can go ahead and just hide those dates for now. And if you don't want them to show up automatically, you can also go into your template and just change this filter just like we're doing right now. So you just click on this little filter, and then you can go ahead and remove these. And then you are left with this right here. I have a whole video going over how to customize your tasks, but I like to just reiterate it just so you really understand. So this is a formula, and this formula makes another formula look prettier. This is what you paid for, so that you didn't have to do all of this. So we would go to edit properties, and I believe it's in auto due date. Yes, so this is where the big formula lives, auto due date. And as you can see, it's laid out here very nice and pretty for you. All of this green is just text. What's most important is that this text and the task name, which is also, each task is technically what is called a page in Notion. It is important that the task name and the formula match. And if you use the system I just showed you, where you just click the button, everything will match perfectly. Now, that is essentially how you would add a seller transaction. I mean, really, you would be done at this point as far as what you need to do in here until you go under contract. And then I'll just show you, so we'll unfilter these out and do maybe the opposite. So hide the pre-listings and say we went under contract now. Okay, so we're also on the listing page, so it just disappeared. And our acceptance date is today, and our closing date is the 30th, okay? And now you should see all of these dates just populated, like magic. So that is how you add a seller transaction. That really is all there is to it. But I will show you one thing. Due to one request, I did add this progress bar, and it's just kind of a fun thing. Let's say that we already opened escrow, we already emailed them, we reached out to the lender, and now you'll see that there. And what did we name? Oh, you know what? There we go. Okay, so I mean, that is pretty much it. If you want to see this go, let me see where it is on this page. There it is. Okay, so you can see it right there. Watch it in real time. Be nerdy with me. Okay, very exciting. And that will do it. And again, it's only 50% because we also have these other tasks that are not being shown here. So I will leave that there for you. These are all sample transactions that you can go ahead and use. Anything that you see that's already been created in here will already have the tasks done. So when you're first starting in here, you can either delete everything that I've done as a sample, or you can go ahead and just change the address and start adding your client and kind of getting a hang of things and just using the tasks that are already set up for you in here. Any new tasks that you start will have the button that adds all new tasks for you, and those will be in the template. So I believe we started the other one from the aligned agent dashboard. So now let's start it from here. This is honestly where I work out of most of the time. So the dashboard is just kind of a nice view, and some people like more of that navigation bar feel. But now let's go ahead and add a buyer and watch it on here. Okay, so to add a buyer, we are going to go ahead and we'll just click buyer checklist. Again, these are templates. And if you want to change these, any photos, I'd probably go over this multiple times, but change it in the template, but just change cover here. And I do everything in Unsplash. And if you can't tell, I usually just type like ocean or beach or something like that. I don't really like this one, so we're gonna go ahead and change it. That seems nicer. Okay, so for a buyer, obviously you're not going to need those listing dates. So we'll just go ahead and make the acceptance date today. It's a busy day for us. And we'll make the closing date December 31st. Okay, and then seller name. Oh, we do not need our seller. It turns out I do need to open this. So as you'll see, because there's so many properties, sometimes you just need to open that up if what you're looking for is not there. We'll make this Betty buyer. She's our investor. She is very busy. Okay, and maybe she has a different phone number. So that should be done there. If you wanted to, again, connect this, so if you don't see your option, you can add one. There you go, easy as that. If you want to have a more in-depth view and automatically connect this to your CRM, if you already have her in here or he or them, then you can go ahead and just choose them there. And if you have any additional notes, like maybe they have a trust or maybe there's other people that need to be involved, you can just write those here. You can also write it down below. It's really just up to you and whatever works better for you. And then if you know what your commission is going to be, I wish you $20,000 on your next sale. Something to keep in mind as well, so all of your dates right here, spuds, clue, when to order the home warranty, your BINSR, which in Arizona where I live is automatically 10 days. BINSR is an inspection period. If you need to rename this to whatever is applicable to where you live, you can just go ahead and rename it right here. You can change that there. That won't change anything for you. If you need to change the formula because 10 days is not your standard time period for an inspection where you live, then just go into edit formula and you would just change this 10 to an 8 or 7 or a 20 or whatever it is, and then it'll do that for you. And then the other date that we have here, so where I live, 10 days is standard about 80-90% of the time. If for some reason it was only a week or it's a 21-day inspection period, then you can go ahead and change this here. Say it's due on the 21st. Then that's going to change the display date as well, which should go into your, so these are your open escrow, should go into these 11/21, which is what we just put. 11/21. Yep. And then obviously, again, you see here, you can just quickly copy all of your emails. So open escrow for buyer and seller, seller congratulations email. Also, if you want to open this in a bigger view, you can open it in a full page like this. It's probably better for me to show you. Okay, you can see your emails here. If you need to edit these, then you would go into customize layout. And then I think you need to take them, oh no, you can edit the formula right here. So all of these emails are formulas, And again, anything in green can easily be changed. I still would use either ChatGPT or Notion AI to rewrite these if needed. If you're rewriting like the whole thing, and you would just do that by either typing in here or taking a screenshot. I usually just take a screenshot and send it to ChatGPT and then tell it what I want it to say or what I want to change specifically. These are all the properties that it's pulling. So those are what we entered. My best recommendation is either if you're not savvy in writing formulas or which is kind of like light coding, or if you're very familiar with Excel, then it might look familiar to you, but I would just have either Notion AI or ChatGPT help you. Otherwise, it's just going to take you a lot longer than it has to, and these are not very complicated formulas. None of them really should be because I've already done the heavy lifting of the complicated parts. And but when you're making a change, I will say that it's probably best to duplicate the property that you're working on. So you don't need to edit this in here. I just wanted to show you where all of these were. So you can just go into your transactions dashboard, and then we're going to go into edit properties, and all of your emails are going to be properties, so they should all say email. So we'll say this one, open escrow email. So you can edit the formula right here, and before you do that, I would probably just duplicate it right here, and then after you duplicate it, it'll add a 1, so it'll say open escrow email buyer 1, and then edit the duplication that you made so that just in case you still have the original, which works perfectly fine, and then you can kind of just test what you want your version to say. So I think that kind of, oh, I didn't add an address, and I did not add the task for you. Okay. We have the address added. We should have everything here. And importantly, probably the most important part of this whole video is that we are going to add these and they're going to appear like magic. It was very exciting to have this new update. So if you're watching this, you have the most up-to-date version with the task button. Okay, and there you have it. So there is all of your tasks and their due date. Again, the due date lives in auto due date if you needed to change it. As soon as you start clicking these off, it is going to go into your progress bar, which is also just nice to see. And then one more thing. So this button, if you ever need to update it, because that's what produces all of these task names, which are technically pages, but if you need to change your tasks, you have to change them in 2 places. You need to change them in auto due date, which we just looked at, and then you also need to change them in this button. You don't want to edit that button on this page. You want to make sure that you edit that in here. So this is the template. Edit it in the template. Same thing here. I would probably duplicate this before you edit anything, but it's very simple once you open it up. So you don't need to worry about any of this. What you would change is just the task name and what the type is. Nothing else needs to be changed. If you need to add a new one, just go ahead and duplicate this. And then if you want to add in a number, that's all that needs to be done. Just a recap, if you want to edit your tasks, make sure that you edit them both in the button and in auto due date, which is in your properties. And when you edit the button, make sure you're doing it in your template. And you can edit the button that I created, or you can go ahead and duplicate it and it'll just create another one on this page, which I'll just go ahead and do. Oops, undo, don't do that. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this, and then now you can use one of these. So if you wanted to go ahead and add a new task, then you will just kind of figure out where it's going to fit in your flow here. This has, we're on the buyer, so this has all the buyer tasks. So make sure you're adding buyer tasks on the buyer page and seller tasks on the seller template. So you just duplicate this here. And now if you were to not change this at all, it's going to now create 2 things that say the exact same thing. So you wouldn't want to do that. So you would just go in here and change, change what this says, and then just make sure that that is added to the auto due date as well, which is the formula. I just want to reiterate that because it is very simple, but just make sure that's done in the right place. So we will delete this and go ahead and hide this. One more thing too is that you see some of these are out of order. Sometimes they need to just be grouped manually. So we'll just bring this down here. There you go. And then when you start getting new months, if they're out of order, you just need to move around so much. I don't have to do that very often, so it's usually pretty good about it. I have added this as well per request. So if you wanted to see things in a different lens, and you have to choose what date these are showing up by. And because they are going by the acceptance date, they can't also go by the listing start date. So you could just duplicate this and make another one for listings if you had a lot of listings that you wanted to go off of. Otherwise, you'll just see your under contracts on here. Also, if you ever are no longer under contract, where's our Sam seller? Here he is. Okay, so let's say his falls through. You can go ahead and clear these. So right here, acceptance date, close date, we're going to clear those, and that's going to remove these dates as well. And then you're just going to put him back into pre-contract. Now, that should be all. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope that you get a lot of value out of this product, and I hope it makes your life easier, and I am here for anything else that you may need. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.